Hi there, welcome. For those watching me for the very first time, my name is Adiola and I'm a Nigerian living here in Merida, Yucatan, Mexico, where I share my experiences about life here in Merida as a single woman. And if you have been watching me for a while now but you haven't clicked on the subscribe button yet, please do me a favor by clicking on that subscribe button so that you can be notified the next time I upload a new video. Because here's the thing, the videos that I share here, most people are not sharing them because they are sharing the good sides, the rosy sides of Merida, whereas I share the good and bad, because like I said, it's about my experiences living here in Merida. In life you will have good experiences, bad experiences, neutral experiences. So yeah, it'll cover everything because yeah, I'm here to spill the tea. So in my last video I talked about how and why I didn't get my rent deposit back. Not even 1 peso. They didn't even give me 1 peso. They were like, shoo, get out now. And yeah, and I was figuring out like what, but anyway, to me I was just like, you know what, that's my donation to you guys. Adios with the 5,000 pesos. Now, today's video will be about the landlady coming after me a month after I had already moved out. A month after that was in my, like I had already forgotten about that life that I lived for 15 months. 50 months, because I lived in that house for apartment for 4 years and 2 months. From January 2021 to February 2025. Okay. Now, a month after I had moved out, the landlady, because the building was owned by an elderly couple, the husband and the wife. The husband did the maintenance on the house, so he will come by a few times in a week to sweep and such, while the wife would do the administrative. So you have any questions, something needs to be fixed, so on and so forth, you will call her, you will send her a message and she will get right to it. So anyway, on March 27, I moved out on February 28 because February was a short month. And then on March 27, this lady sent me an audio, and one annoying thing she used to do would be that she will send you audio messages, or she will send you a message and she might resend the message 2 or 3 times in a day until you respond. So this woman had no respect for your time. She had no respect for what you could be doing. She had no respect for maybe you lost your phone, your battery died, or you had an emergency. She has no respect for that. She will just keep messaging you until you respond. So that is exactly what she did. Let's start. So she sent me, I think she sent me like 4 audio messages within like a 10-minute period, because I saw the message come in, but I had a carpenter at my house who was installing the kitchen cabinet. So to me, I was thinking, why is this lady messaging me? Like, what's going on? So I was like, okay, I'll get to it whenever these guys are done, and then I'll get to it along with my other messages, because usually I don't like to go on my phone so much, because once I'm on it, then you know how it is. So I usually try to wait for the messages to accumulate, and then I go and I respond. Sometimes on my phone, but most times I prefer on my computer, desktop, laptop, because it's much easier for me. So I was waiting for the other messages to accumulate, and also, I wanted to tend to the people working on my house. After all, she's already in my past. It's an old chapter. So, and she kept messaging me. I was like, what's going on? So, and then I went on my phone, and then I said, hola, senora, it's not necessary for you to send me the same messages over and over again. I was actually working, and so I couldn't respond to my messages. And you've sent me 4 messages, 4 of the same messages in just 10 minutes. That's harassment. And then also, I pointed out the fact that I had messaged her about 3 weeks prior, right? But she completely ignored me. So I was very disappointed with her, because I was a good tenant throughout the 4 years that I stayed at her apartment. And now she now sent me an audio like, oh, I didn't see your message, oh, I'm so sorry about that. I was like, BS. You think I actually believe that? In the 4 years that I stayed at your apartment, you saw all of my messages. When it came to you sending me messages asking me, okay, what time can we come over for the rent? And I will respond, I will let you know. You saw all those messages. But now you didn't see the message I sent you about 3 weeks ago, asking you for a simple favor. What I asked her then, maybe a week afterwards, I was asking her if she could share the phone number of the landlord, so the husband. Because when I went back, when I moved out, I hired a moving company, so they put my stuff, my furniture and such, in their truck, and I also put some stuff in my car. And but at the end of the day, we couldn't fit everything in, even though I had been moving bit by bit that week. But we had a few things left over, so they were like, okay, come back on Monday because it was on a Friday when I moved out. They're like, okay, you can come back on Monday to get the rest of your stuff. So when I went, the husband came, for me to give him the keys, right? So he came, and by then I was almost done moving my stuff out. And because he drove a pickup truck, it's a small one, but a pickup truck, and then he offered to help me out to drive some of my stuff to my new house. So I was okay, fine. And so he helped me out, and he helped me to move the rest of my things to my house. And then he saw the house, like, oh, it's really nice, really nice. And then I told him, hey, I'm looking for someone to clean my well, and I haven't been able to find someone, but I heard you can find someone in the villages. It was like, oh, he knows someone in the village. And as a matter of fact, he's going to that same village in a few days, and then he will get that guy's phone number, and then he will share it with me. I was like, oh, great, that's awesome. And then my spirit kept telling me, get his number, or make sure you have his number, because I think in the previous video that I made, I said that the wife was the administrator for the property. So she was the one we were messaging, because the husband had a flip phone, so he didn't have WhatsApp. But he got to a point, I think he had a smartphone, but he still didn't have WhatsApp. But there was a time that I think the wife gave me his number, so I assumed I had his number, but it turned out I didn't have it. So I assumed I had his number. So, and then a few days passed, I was like, oh, okay, I wanted to get some updates. I went on my phone to look for his number, it wasn't there. I was like, oh, shoot. I don't have this guy's number, but it's okay. Let me just message the wife, to just ask her, like, hey, can you please share your husband's number, because he told me he can help me with this and that. I just needed to get some updates from him and see, just to get updates. This woman ignored my message. Yeah, she ignored me. A few days later, I messaged her again. Hola, just trying to follow up. How are you? Again, ignored my message. Yeah, she completely ghosted me. Ghosted. And I was thinking, what's going on? First, I was a good tenant. Two, when it was time for me to move out, I cleaned the property, because when the notary came, he only charged me for money to paint, not money to repair this, to replace this, whatever. Like, and yeah, so that brings me to the third point. You guys didn't even give me my deposit back, not even 1 peso. And it wasn't like I was messaging you to ask you for my deposit, or to ask you for some of my deposit. It was just, hey, even though I do understand, like, you guys have chosen not to give me my deposit, but it's okay, whatever, it's only 5,000 pesos. But just, hey, can you please help me out by sharing, at least my former landlord's phone number, because he offered to help me out with a few things. Ghosted. So, and then eventually I had to message one of my other neighbors. I was like, hey, the next time you see this guy, because he usually goes to the apartment to sweep, maintain, so on and so forth. I was like, the next time you see this guy, can you please tell him that I've been trying to message him, and if you can please give him my number, or at least ask him for his number, and he can share it with me, because I messaged my other neighbors, two of my other neighbors, they didn't have this guy's phone number. So yeah. But yeah, and then she now helped me out. I think she gave him my number, and then he now called me after a few days. Oh, thank God. So yeah, this woman ghosted me. I don't know why. That's her prerogative. Anyway, so, and then I reminded her. I was like, I sent you a message just a few weeks ago and you completely ignored me. So I'm very disappointed with you. She was like, oh, sorry story. Lies which she probably thought I believed. Whatever. And then I reminded her. I was like, hey, by the way, I wasn't refunded my 5,000 pesos of deposit because they told me that they needed that to paint or what have you. I also reminded her that I'm no longer your tenant. And so I no longer have any responsibility when it comes to the house. Also, I understand how deposits work. I completed my part of the contract, but you're not completing your part of the contract. The contract says you're supposed to give me my money back. You did it, but whatever. I walked away. And then she sent me an audio message again about the 5,000 pesos was used to paint and to pretty much put the apartment back in the state that it was in before I moved in. So I didn't mention a particular point. Now, she messaged me and she was sending me multiple messages because apparently she was at the electricity office, the CFE office, at least that's what she said, trying to pay a bill that came after I moved out. I had already paid for, I believe, maybe for the last one, so I think December, January, so I think it was just the next bill. The next bill only came out to be 385 pesos because I don't use the electricity much. Oh, yeah, I don't use it much because I don't use my AC much. That's what I wanted to say. I don't use my AC much, so I don't consume a lot of electricity. And also, between November and February, really, you don't need the AC as much. So yeah, so my electricity bill for the 2 months only came out to be 385 pesos, less than 500 pesos. So I think maybe that's why she was messaging me multiple times, like, hey, I need that money because I'm at the office right now. Send it to me right now. And it's like, first of all, you got the bill. Like, who knows how long ago you got the bill? You could have messaged me to be like, hey, the bill came, and in 2 days I'm gonna go pay it, or in 3 days I'm gonna go pay it. So please send me the money. No, it's like, this is when it's convenient for me, and it also has to be convenient for you. I don't care if you're working. I don't care if your battery's dead. I don't care if you're at the hospital. Pay me right now. Now, this is the attitude of a lot of the people here that has pushed me to the wall. So I was like, okay, I understand how rental works and such, and then I also understand that as the tenant, it was my responsibility to pay the CFE bill, but you guys didn't refund me my money. You didn't even refund me 1 peso, right? Also, I didn't even use that much of electricity. It wasn't like I used like thousands and thousands of pesos of electricity. And then I was like, okay, you can just take out the 385 from the 5,000 pesos that you didn't refund me, right? Because after all, it's such a small quantity. 385 from 5,000 pesos, you're still left with about 4,600 pesos and some change. Okay, so the audio that she sent me said something about, the 5,000 pesos was used to paint, it was used to clean, wash the curtains. The husband had to wash the kitchen, the sink area. They had to paint, they had to do this, they had to do that. So the 5,000 pesos really wasn't enough. It's like this woman doesn't know that I had just built a house. So I know how much things cost, okay? I had just built a house. I know how much things cost and how much things should cost. And then I responded, I said, yeah, to clean an apartment, a 1-bedroom apartment doesn't cost 5,000 pesos. Besides, you can show me your receipt to prove it if you're really telling the truth here. Show me the receipt to prove it, but listen, I'm not gonna pay the 385 pesos. You can just use some of the money, some of the 5,000 pesos to cover that. Because again, you didn't refund me my money. In the audio, she also said something about the internet. Even though before I moved out, she told me make sure everything is paid up, including the internet. I was going back and forth with her again, like I was going back and forth with her right now. That listen, the internet is in my name. When I moved in, the only thing we had to pay for was the the only thing that was in your name that we were responsible for was the electricity. Everything else, everybody had to get, including the internet. So the internet, it didn't come with a contract, it didn't come with the house. I had to go get my own contract. Only one neighbor, I have to tell her, only one neighbor pays internet. The majority of us, the rest of us, we all had our own contract with our own names. The internet, at least in my case, it came out of my credit card and such. So I was going back and forth with her, like, the internet is in my name, it's not in your name. Also, I've already transferred it to my house. Really, you don't have to worry about the internet. But she kept telling me that I owed money for the internet and the CFE bill. I was like, listen, like, I told you already that the internet is in my name, so I don't owe you any money. And then I said, also, I share with you a screenshot of my receipt, which had my name on the internet bill. So really, you have nothing to worry about. And then in the audio message, she also said that they had to clean the AC, pretty much fix up the apartment. The AC should be cleaned and maintained every year, but in the 4 years that I lived there, they only did that once, right? Meaning for 3 years, they didn't clean and maintain that AC. But there was one time when one of the other tenants moved out, and so I asked one of the AC technicians to just come and check my AC, and I was like, oh, it's clean. So yeah, because I don't use the AC as much, so really it was okay. Cleaning the AC is the responsibility of the owners. And I also reminded her that I never used the curtains, because she said, okay, the 5,000 pesos, they had to wash the curtains, they had to wash this, they had to clean this. Even if they had to wash the curtains, it's a simple 10 pesos detergent. But anyway, I was like, I never used the curtains in the past 4 years that I lived there. I used my own curtains because the curtains that came with the house, they were so ugly. I remember this because there was one night I slept and then I woke up, my first morning at the house, and I looked at the curtain. I was like, oh, this is very ugly, but whatever, I'll do it in a week or so. And then I slept again the following night. I woke up, I was like, no, Adiola, no, these curtains are very ugly, change them right away. And I remember I got out of bed and I went and I took down the curtain in my bedroom. Like, the curtains weren't even that bad, but for me they were like so ugly, they looked like grandma's curtains. And then on that same day, I went to Parisina and I got myself new curtains. I was like, no, Adiola, no, you can't do this yourself. Change these curtains today. And so that's what I did, and I packed the curtains away for 4 years. And then when I moved out, I put them back up. Again, I reminded her that I need to see the receipt to make sure that you actually spent the entire 5,000 pesos. And I was telling her, no, I'm not paying for the CFE bill because you didn't give me my deposit back. Go and take out 385 pesos from that 5,000 pesos to pay for the electricity bill, because I'm not sending you any money. And so when I asked her to send me a receipt of how much she spent cleaning the house and painting the house, I reminded her about the fact that I still have my contract and everything. And then she got frustrated. She was like, oh, never mind. She was super angry. And then I shared my last words to her. I was like, I'm very disappointed with you, Senora, because you're harassing me for a mere 385 pesos. After being your tenant for 4 years, I didn't cause any damages to your apartment. It was just regular use. But you're treating me like you did me a favor by me living in your house. Also, you earned 269,000 pesos from me as a tenant. But here you are harassing me for a mere 385 pesos. So the 269,000 pesos came from all of the money that I paid her in rent for 50 months. And I was like, I'm very disappointed with you. And I also told her that this conversation is breaking the law. And that was it. It was the fact that she had the audacity to come after me a month after to ask for a mere 385 pesos. After she denied me of a refund of my deposit, which cost 5,000 pesos. So I was like, from the 5,000 pesos you took from me, you couldn't take 385 pesos to pay for the electricity bill. If let's say the electricity bill came out to be 2,000 pesos or 3,000 pesos or 4,000 pesos, and now she's coming after me because my deposit was only 5,000 pesos, then I will completely understand. I would have sent her like, okay, here's 8,000 pesos, here's 2,000 pesos out of the 3,000 pesos. But it's less than 400 pesos. Less than 10% of my deposit, you couldn't cover that. Even though you earned almost 300,000 pesos from me as a tenant. The audacity to come after me after 1 month. Not only the audacity, it's like, do you have no shame? I messaged you a few weeks ago. You ignored me. You ghosted me. And now you're sending me messages asking me for 385 pesos. I didn't cause any damage to your property. I wasn't evicted from your property for one reason or the other. I stayed at your apartment for over 4 years. You know how hard it is to find a tenant, like a steady income coming in for good 4 years. Like they didn't have to go and look for new tenants every single year or every 6 months or every now and then. And sometimes maybe they lose 1 month rent or they lose 2 months rent. I was there the whole time. Sometimes I wasn't even there for a month, 2 or 3 months sometimes because I'm away. I left your apartment in a good state. No damages. It was just regular wear and tear. I didn't take any video of the property because by the time I moved out, I was already done with that chapter. But I was very disappointed that somebody at this age, maybe she's like in her late 70s, will come after somebody who was in her late 30s, harassing her for a mere 385 pesos. After you've earned almost 270,000 pesos from this person. After you refuse to give them back 5,000 pesos. Not even half of that 5,000 pesos, like let's say 2,500 pesos, let's say even 2,000 pesos. Like, okay, here's 2,000 pesos, we'll keep the 3,000 pesos because, we checked your CFE bill. We can see that on average, you usually spend about 400 pesos, 500 pesos on electricity, and the other will go towards painting the house and, fixing up a few things. Or here's 2,000 pesos. You didn't do that. And now you're coming after me for this. So that's it for today's video. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. And if you made it this far and you haven't subscribed yet, please do click on the subscribe button. And if you feel like, you know what, I'm not convinced yet, then you can also click on the like button. Alright, thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next video. Ciao.